All right.
Damn, son, where'd you find this?
iPod.
Welcome to episode 80 of the Fly Route Podcast. I'm here with the guys. Let's get into a little bit of news. What's popping going on in the sports world right now? Keith is going to kick us off on making sure y'all stay up to date on everything that's important. Where we at, Keith?
All right, so we had an eventful couple weeks in the NFL. We had a big thing to drop, big domino. Derwin James got paid, highest paid safety ever, $76.4 million, 42 in guarantees. Major move for the Chargers. They solidify a dominant player, a vocal leader on their whole team, not just the defense. He's always getting reports about how vocal he is as a leader. We had some craziness go on in New England and the Panthers today. There was Christian McCaffrey and a Wise Jr. I don't know how to say his first name. They got into a scuffle. But the play before that
with C-Mac?
Yeah, he apparently how he tackled C-Mac threw the ball at him. But before that is what escalated the situation. There was a Carolina player that stood over a banged up Patriots player. So I guess the hit was kind of, some say not legal or just a dirty hit. And after that, he stood over him and flexed. So won't be shocked if that Carolina player probably gets released. I'm gonna be honest, real bad reviews on that. So we had TJ Watt. He did an interview on the podcast of the Pivot podcast. He brought up how people don't really credit how great JJ Watt was, because people always want to ask him who's better. He honestly gave the best answer of just saying, like, people didn't respect or just didn't realize how great his brother truly was at that time. And it was only during a short time frame. Like, it wasn't like JJ's was just dominant for like a longevity time. It was like great for like 3-4 years where he's putting up damn near 20 sacks a season. He won 2 back-to-back, I think. So
bad team.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
And then some weird stuff happened in Cleveland, like that's continuing happening. The Browns lose both of their centers for the start of the season. So they're probably gonna sign JC Treader back immediately.
Wow.
And, that is the news that's going on. Some news, not all the news, but some news.
All right, anybody else got any news they want to share? Because we're going to definitely talk about Aqib Talib, because that shit was wild. Why you giving me wide eyes? That was wild. It was absolutely wild. For those who do not know, Aqib Talib and his brother, Aqib Talib, were at a youth football game this past weekend, and during that football game, a scuffle broke out between, I guess, Aqib and, allegedly Aqib. People were witnesses at the scene and saying that he threw the first punch, and a referee, because of a call they did not like, a scuffle ensued. There was a fight, and allegedly Aqib Talib's brother let off some shots and killed a man on the scene. He turned himself in after the police issued a warrant for his arrest, and things are going to develop from there. But that is absolutely wild.
Yeah, that's nonetheless, that's crazy. It's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out. Stand your ground laws, what was going on, just the different videos that are going to surface. I'm going to be really interested just to see how that plays out, and just in general. I mean, it's terrible at a youth game of all places.
Yeah,
who ups the pole at a youth football game?
You got the kids out there, bro. Like, youth sports, just they're not that serious, bro. Like, these kids, like, let them enjoy the game. Like, y'all should. There was one post this dad was saying, like, parents shouldn't be allowed on the field. They should have to watch from, like, there's some stadiums I've been in where you can see the field from, like, the parking lot or different things like that. They said they need to have them outside the fence watch the game, which honestly, the way some parents be acting,
you're right now.
You might need to do it.
Because they act like their kid's about to go D1 off of their, like, 3rd grade youth football game.
Bro,
for nothing.
Bro, them just don't even know how to tackle properly yet either. Like, that's a lot, bro. Like, at a youth game, like, I think the only time I seen parents get like that is when I was playing AAU. But I was, like, a junior playing AAU. So, like, still not they shouldn't be getting like that. But, like, I can see them complaining, because some of them kids are AAU. They're probably either signed to their college or they're about to go to college.
That's a different level, though. That's a different level.
Way different than
youth
ball. Yeah.
It's like, if y'all want to throw hands with the ref, that's also terrible, and you probably shouldn't be let back into a game if you're out here doing that. But I'd rather have you do that 10 times up the pole once at like a youth game.
Yeah, it's just yeah.
We'll keep this one moving. Y'all heard the Manti Te'o Netflix doc explaining how he got catfished for I think roughly 3 years. Had a fake girlfriend online that supposedly then died before we all found out that she was not real.
My boy could have hired a private investigator
2 years ago,
or use FaceTime one time.
I mean, people get catfished, but he had like the means to find out if he was getting catfished. Like he could have hired.
We all have the means to find out if we're getting catfished.
You got money to hire a private investigator like that?
You don't gotta do all that. You got a phone. You got social media.
I got FaceTime. I got Duo. Like, yo, there ain't no way you can catfish anybody that wants to know the truth for 3 years.
Skype definitely existed at that time.
Yes, it did.
Like
Uvu might have been.
I'm about to say Uvu was contained too, man.
Uvu had the streets hot at that time. People.
I'm excited to watch though. I can't wait to see how it played out because I've forgotten all the details, but I'm never trying to make fun of someone's situation, but it is pretty funny. I mean, come on.
They gonna probably have my man's. The dude that does the catfish show.
Yo,
put him in his show, man.
Bro, they about to have MTV getting live.
Oh, we already got a comment, but that's interesting. I'm gonna hide it real quick.
Yeah, we'll get to that. That's
next
week, I think. That's
the West, yeah,
with no hop for 6 games. Yeah.
Yo,
I think.
Hey, hey, I'm letting you know, Marquise Brown, he's good and he can produce, but he's gonna drop the ball a couple times.
Rondell Moore gonna be the guy while he out.
Ooh, I like that. Rondell Moore and Kyler had a pretty good chemistry,
and that's who should sign Eric Ebron to back up Zach
Ertz. Really?
Yeah. Because then they would have two more big bodies. You're gonna miss Nuke for a little bit. Did they sign AJ Green back? Isn't that something like they know he's coming back, but have they finalized the deal exactly?
I don't think he's on the roster.
Yeah, so there you have that. Like you can't roll out Rondell Moore and just Marquise Brown and Kyler Murray. You're gonna have a team full of midgets.
Bro.
And Isabella too.
And bro, they're all super talented, but Kyler be running like a badass kid, bro. He be blowing my mind. Just run with the ball, look like a badass kid. Shoot. It's crazy though. I'm not hating.
Bet you can't catch me.
It's fucking crazy. It's like a badass game of tag.
Oh shit! Hold on.
He's a sport athlete too.
Okay. Seth also says, well, in the meantime, the Arizona Cardinals 14-3. I can't see it, Playboy. I'm sorry. I can't. Rams 12-5. Yo, 49ers 10-7. Those actually I could definitely see. The Rams I could see winning a couple more games, but 14-3 for I don't think I can see it, man.
That's great.
Not missing tough. Nuke for that long.
Tough.
Yeah. Yo.
We got Derek. He said gonna have a
What a time to tune in.
And that's not even hate. Them dudes are small dudes, bro. Like
I don't think that could ever sound like not hate. I'm gonna have to be honest with you.
Yeah. A little hate.
Yeah, that's
it ain't hate, they just short, bro. Like
they little.
Yeah, they little people. I acknowledge though
they little people.
All three of them do damage. All three of them do damage, bro. Marquise Brown easily gonna take the top off. Rondell Moore is physical. Kyler is a hybrid of goddamn Lamar and Russell Wilson. Is crazy.
Oh man, that's funny. I'm sorry. That's funny. That's a little hate.
Oh, that's wild.
Yo,
about that.
yeah, that's a hot take. Better
That's
weapons.
super
The
hot.
Cardinals have better weapons than the Rams.
You ever
I
heard
don't
of
know.
Cooper
They got
Cup?
and
That's
Allen
true.
Robinson like on opposite sides of each other. That's nice.
Cam Akers,
Yeah. Who
Tyler
what
Higbee
happened
is as
to
good
running
as Zach
back
Ertz at
one?
this
Did they
point.
re-sign James Conner in
Yeah, they brought him
Arizona?
back.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they
But
lost Edmonds though.
He's a touchdown
Oh.
machine for him. I don't know if he's like a every down back. Like they in the red zone, he's getting off.
Regression to the mean. I feel like he's a regression to the mean candidate.
Yeah,
Because
I
he
They
think
got
have the old Pittsburgh coordinator, so they feed James Conner. I mean, even if he is regression to the mean,
Makes
he
sense.
still had high yards per
a
carry.
great
and
year.
they'll
He had a great
use
year
him.
last year.
all right,
think-
facts.
I think he's got a good point there. I think if D Hop's on the field, I agree with that statement. But D Hop not on the field, there's some question marks there.
Yeah, with D Hop and if AJ's back or not back with Randall Moore, Zach Ertz, yeah, then he's right. Like he's right, but missing Nuke but then he might not be right because if the Rams get Odell, then we're like, all right, well, shit.
They bring Odell back. That changes.
Yeah,
Yo,
things.
that's crazy.
With Allen Robinson, they definitely gonna have better weapons. Easy.
Allen got to show up. I mean, he was with the Bears. It's a struggle. We know.
Okay, he was really great on the Bears until last year,
Yeah,
where they did not want to pay him, and then they
didn't do
fucked
what-
up
they didn't
camp.
Exactly. They didn't. He wanted to practice with Fields, and they didn't have Fields taking first team reps. So I get why Allen was just like, all right, whatever. Like he knew he was gonna leave,
Yeah.
but because they didn't want to pay him. Like he wanted to stay, and then they didn't pay him. They didn't let him take the reps with Fields. I wouldn't stay.
Yeah, no, I don't blame him for leaving at all. I'm a Bears fan. Like I was actually stumping for us to pay him because like it's rare for us to have a real number one receiver in Chicago. Like prior to Allen Robinson, it was Brandon Marshall.
Dog.
You can't name me the guy in between Brandon Marshall and Allen Robinson. You can try, but I know you cannot.
Yeah, I can't.
Exactly. So the fact that
I
we
ain't
didn't
gonna
pay
act
him
like
is
I can
crazy.
name who it was either.
They got hope. They got high hopes on Mooney though. I think Mooney gonna be nice.
I like him too, and I feel like that's the kind of guy that excels sitting behind a guy like Allen Robinson to show him the ropes. Because Allen Robinson has done it in dysfunctional situations his whole career.
I mean, it depends on how they play. If they play like they change the offense like they did because they have a new coach, Darnell Mooney might not be bad out there if Cole Kmet is a dog.
Darnell Mooney is great. I think he's
no, but I'm saying if Cole Kmet's eating in the intermediate and then Darnell Mooney is doing his thing, that's not I just watched the Ravens do it for 3 years straight.
I think people sleep on Montgomery too. I think they got a solid.
He nice.
They got two, bro. He got
Khalil Herbert.
Yeah. I mean, I think
he had a slight little stint last year, but I think Montgomery is definitely the guy though.
They need to figure out the Roquan Smith issue, and then they need to figure out just to get this old line fully rolling.
Okay.
Because I mean, if they build it right, they can build longevity. But if it doesn't, like they mess up the build process of what they got like right now, then it's not. Because they got young pieces. Everybody's young for them, so it's like ideal at this point. But hey, we gotta keep them rolling, big dog.
All right. What's poppin', y'all? Welcome to episode 80. I am your host, Anthony, aka Tony Playboy, aka Manti Faco, aka the Draymond Green Station. And I'm here with the guys. Y'all got any AKAs for yourself?
Keith, aka all right, I got 4 A's last semester.
Oh, well, look at you go. I'm proud of you, buddy.
Thanks, big dog.
Yeah, no, I actually mean that too.
Appreciate it.
Yeah. Look, we can get right into it. We got the AFC and NFC North
today. AKA, give me a Godfather 4, please. God damn it. I don't know why it blew my mind, bro. I watched I rewatched it, but I hadn't watched it since I was a kid.
Okay.
Bro, I need part 4, like today.
Okay, facts.
Like, damn, they did my man Sonny bad too, big dog. No, boy. It's crazy.
I have an AKA for this week. I'm Sam, AKA Ayahuasca A-Rod.
I like that.
So,
Ayahuasca A-Rod. Yo, honestly, can we talk about how like A-Rod is okay? Lamar Jackson could never have gotten away with that shit.
Oh no!
Can we all agree that if
100%.
Lamar Jackson got up and was like, yeah, before my MVP season, I went out to like Chile and I did ayahuasca, they would have been like, Lamar Jackson is a drug addict. Is this the message he wants to send out, children? Like,
Dude, Josh Gordon.
He would have been murdered.
Imagine how mad Josh Gordon is.
Yo,
Dude is just trying to smoke some weed, and
Josh
the MVP can trip and brag about it. That's
Josh
crazy.
really got his like prime taken away because he was on an ungodly trajectory. Like he used to, bro. He wasn't playing in the league. He used to play basketball with my homeboy in Gainesville, like at the University of Florida. Like you can run on the different courts. You just see Josh Gordon playing basketball, bro. Like like he's a normal dude. He ain't no normal dude. My boy is like, bro, he looks stacked, like as stacked as he always does, just looking crazy.
Okay, you got any AKAs, Cliff?
Cliff, aka Glove, aka TDD, 10 Toes Down, aka I don't know if anybody know everybody know about the Madden drop, but
yeah, how y'all feel about that pass?
Yeah, I want to see what people think about that. But yeah, man, I've been on it. I got the early release. Been playing it since Monday.
That boy, the big dog. I got the free trial for 10 hours.
Yeah, I had that too, but I only used like 5 of it before I got it.
Oh, okay. I'm not upgrading.
Yo, y'all want to answer this question real quick? Seth Carpenter had a decent question here. He said, I will give y'all who's going to clinch in these rivalries. So we got the Packers, Bucks, Cardinals, Eagles, Bills, Chargers, Titans, Bengals. Let's start with the Packers, Bucks. They line up against each other this year. Who you taking?
I had the Packers for my team focus for the NFC North. I have them losing to the Bucks. Brady over Rodgers.
I'm not against it. I just don't know what the wide receivers look like.
It's also at Tampa.
Yeah, I was going to ask where it's at. We
got Cardinals, Eagles. Anybody got a feeling about Cardinals, Eagles?
I mean, I think
is D-Hop going to be back?
Yeah. Do we know what week Cardinals v. Eagles is? Let me
D-Hop won't be there. It's week 5.
Oh, okay. Then I'm willing to take the Eagles. I'm actually high on the Eagles, and I might end up being like grossly wrong and like proven to just be like buying way into the Jalen Hurts hype. But I'm sold.
I am too. I think they're gonna be a really good team.
Bills Chargers. Anybody got Bills Chargers?
I got Bills.
I'm gonna go with the Bucks. I'm gonna go with the young Bucks. I'm gonna go with the Chargers. I think they added a lot of pieces, and I think Herbert's gonna take that next step this year.
I think they added a lot of pieces, but I think adding Von Miller to that Bills defensive line that is like getting right there to the passer every time. Adding Von Miller, I think is insane. On top of because we've seen JC line up against Stephon Diggs, like they've already played against each other. There's not nothing like that's gonna happen. I think the Bills are equipped, as long as Tre'Davious is healthy when he comes back, they're equipped to go line up against those receivers on the Chargers.
All right, last one is Titans Bengals, that AFC championship.
Right. Ryan Tannehill's still the quarterback, Bengals.
I'm with you too.
I'm about to say it depends on who's taking the helm. I don't know how to go with that.
The Titans defense couldn't play a better game against the Bengals ever again. They got 9 sacks and lost.
I think the only thing they didn't have Derrick Henry. He had came back that game, didn't he? And he was like, but Derek Foreman or the Foreman dude got off. He had like 80 yards ground.
Yeah,
he was solid in like relief all season for them.
We know who lost in that game.
That dude is on.
We all know who lost in that game.
Like, granted, Derrick Henry running the ball is way different than him, but like you got 80 yards. That's productive. So like,
that dude Foreman is backing up CMC now, and I think could still get some sneaky yards, especially if there's injury problems.
Okay, and they have Chuba Hubbard. That's an interesting signing.
Yeah, that's crazy. They're making
that's security. That's security behind just in case CMC want to make
and then they'll have a little committee run backfield. Yeah. All right. Okay, let's get right into the RPO. All right. Yo, this is the run pass option where I give y'all some of the hottest storylines in sports news this week, and you'll let me know if you're gonna run with it or pass on it? We are going to start with Keith. I have a little interesting question down in Carolina. Baker Mayfield starts week 1 against the Browns. Run or pass?
Pass.
Pass?
Pass.
So you think Sam Darnold is going to win out the
pass.
QB
I don't want to
competition?
talk about it. I don't even know.
He said pass on the whole.
Oh, that's wild.
Pass.
Sam, the Chiefs do not win the AFC West this year. Run or pass?
I'm going to run. I'll take the field. That's a really strong division. I'll take the possibility that the Broncos, Raiders, or Chargers come out on top versus the Chiefs. I think it's just safe to say that you'll take the field in that division rather than just like putting it all in on one team.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, Kansas City has been running that division for like half a decade, even with Alex Smith. So that's an interesting one. Let's keep it moving. Jimmy G is still on the 49ers week 1. Cliff, run or pass?
I'm a pass. I think he's. I mean, I think right now nobody knows what's going to happen yet, but I think he'll end up getting traded either before the season or mid-season, depending on a team that needs it, looking to be a competitor. I don't think the Browns are an option even with suspension. I just think that's too much into the quarterback situation. But yeah, I can definitely see a team using them for sure.
Okay. All right. I like that. We're going to keep in the same line of do they start or play in this season. I got one for you, Keith. Deshaun Watson plays in the 2022-2023 season. Run or pass?
Bro, I'm going to run with it. I'm going to run with it. I don't think he should play in it. I'm probably the minority of males that think he should not play this year. There's a big majority that say he should play. He served the suspension. No, he voluntarily sat out. He didn't forfeit any money last year. He settled all those cases. If you know how the justice system works, some victims make settlements because they feel like they won't get justice through the system for various different reasons. Granted, the
Grand juries?
2 grand juries, there wasn't enough to indict him. That happens in many cases. But I think the code of conduct, depending on how your morals align, there's no way 23 women are lying. I refuse to believe 23 women are lying.
24.
24, my bad. Thank you. I refuse to believe that. So I just feel as if 6 game is super. He should thank God or whoever he wants to thank. But it should easily be anywhere from 10 to a year. That's how I feel. I used to say 8 to 12, but it should be 10 to a year. And a fine and some counseling that needs to be done, taking out of school remotely. Like he needs to seek adequate help to deal with whatever he has going on. And I think the NFL needs to actually do something about the league. Because I think compared to when I was a kid, I think a lot more women pay attention to sports or the NFL specifically now. I think there's women in my life that watch football, even if I'm not watching football.
Facts. We got one last one before we get into the division breakdowns. All right, this one's for Sam. Katie was recently caught on social media working out with Jason Tatum this summer after some, trade rumors about Jaylen Brown being in a rumored package for KD. Is this a big issue for the Celtics? Run or pass?
So I don't think it's an issue for the Celtics because I think you kind of either get to run back the team you just had that made it to the finals, or you get to flip it into KD, one of the best players of this generation of all time. So I think the Celtics front office, you're kind of in a win-win situation. It's shitty for Jaylen Brown for sure. But I ultimately think that they probably won't be able to get a deal done before the start of the season. And I think the Celtics are going to go in with the team that they had last year. Jaylen Brown will have to get over it, and maybe even by the deadline there will be something done. But I think for the Celtics, it's kind of a win-win. For Jaylen Brown, it's shitty because you just helped get your team to the finals, and now they're talking about trading you. But you also got to be a bit realistic and realize that's Kevin Durant. And, obviously Jaylen Brown isn't gonna, want to hear that or take that perspective. But I mean, if I'm the Celtics, I'm looking to trade Jaylen Brown for Kevin Durant if I can do it.
I'm not doing it.
Depending on how much else it would take. But
I
understand why he'd be pissed. But
they brought in Matthew Brogdon, and then they brought in like 2 other people. They literally were missing a point guard because having Marcus Smart at the end of the game is just ridiculous.
But imagine you have Kevin Durant running point at the end of the game.
Oh, you're not, because Kevin Durant had the same issue that Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum suffered from. They're big, they're wing players that if you make them have to make the decisions 24/7, they're gonna turn the ball over. Like
sure.
I disagree with KD. I feel like KD
in the last
his
2
decisions.
KD's 2 minutes, I'm taking KD with the ball running point no matter who else is on the court.
But KD's decision making just now got to that point. When I've been a huge Kevin Durant fan. His decision making early on was not like that. If that was the case, they would have won that ring against the Heat, even with James Harden like shit in the bed a couple games.
Yeah, but he didn't have Jason Tatum.
Yeah, I feel like the depth of Boston makes decision making easier for KD on that team than it is on the Nets. Because on the Nets, it was really like, oh, you passing the ball to Kyrie? Oh, you're not passing the ball to Kyrie? Where else are you sending it?
I think that Nets team, if Ben's playing and they can find a center, I think that shit's kind of serious. I'm not
for sure. I think Ben right now is like the most underrated player in basketball just because we haven't seen him play in so long. So I agree. I think even if they run back the Nets, that team will be good.
Yeah, like both those teams, I feel like could just easily be like, no, we're not doing it. Like a team like Miami, like if they were in the run to get Kevin without losing like
they've been trying. They've been trying their poor hearts out.
Yeah, for them, it makes 100% sense. Like, you know what I mean? Like Kevin Durant helps alleviate Jimmy having to take every goddamn shot at the end of games. You know what I mean? So that's what I feel.
All right, we're going to move into our division breakdowns. We're doing the NFC first. So we are going to have the big conversation. First off, lay a claim. Who do you all have coming out of the NFC North this year? What's that look on your face, Playboy?
Bro, I think it's...
I'm sorry, Cliff. This man, Seth Carpenter, talking about this man ain't got Baltimore in the playoffs, but keep going with the NFC.
Wait,
North.
you want me to put it up or you good?
No, put it up. This shit crazy.
He don't got Baltimore in the playoffs, and you are pressed. I guess this would be his AFC playoff bracket.
Sorry, I was looking at this shit confused.
you read through it. He was like, I don't see Lamar Jackson on that list.
Dog.
I mean, the AFC is deep. I feel like the Titans are more likely, if any of the teams he has on here that I think don't make it because Baltimore does, it's the Titans.
You're saying Las Vegas, Denver, and Kansas City are getting it.
I don't know about Vegas. Vegas might be a little
I mean, that almost happened last year with the Raiders, Kansas City, and the Chargers, but the Chargers shit the bed. It almost happened and the Chargers fucked themselves. So, it's not unlikely.
If we're healthy, I don't think there's a way we miss the playoffs. Like
I think we should make the playoffs as well.
Even with the no wide receivers, they're still going to make the playoffs. But will the wide receiver thing be a bigger issue at that point? Hell yeah.
If you run into injuries, you guys are in trouble.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. If Rashad Bateman got hurt or Mark Andrews, that would be.
Bro,
if Mark Andrews is hurt,
y'all gonna be running for 300 yards a game if Mark Andrews gets hurt.
Dog, I was just playing Madden with them and was blown. I had to put Mark Andrews in the slot because we ain't had no receivers. Bro, I played a video game and I was like, well, shit, it makes more sense to put him in the slot.
Okay, let's roll back to the NFC North. All right, who do y'all have winning the NFC North?
I didn't do win. I just did prediction for my team. But
I got the Packers.
I'm about to say. I mean, this is Pack. I mean,
Pack.
Go Pack.
The Vikings are the only contender, but they're not going to get it done.
Go Cheez-Its.
Okay. I might take the Vikings this year, man. I feel like they are
with that offensive line.
I mean, look, the Packers' offensive line is not great either with David Bakhtiari hurt. They lost a lot of their depth in the offseason to other teams.
But don't forget what you said.
They have great coaching.
Episodes ago about coaching.
They have great coaching.
It up.
They have great coaching. They have great offensive line coaching.
Yeah.
But talent also matters. and like they paying some money for some guys that are on that line. I just feel like the Vikings are kind of due. They really
Yeah.
do just feel like they're due.
It's gonna come down to
Going into like looking at the Packers schedule, I felt like I was going to have the Vikings winning the division, but then based off the number of games I had the Packers winning, I'm like, well, shit, the Vikings would have to win like 14 games
Oh, okay.
or 13. I'd not
Honestly, the
to
Vikings winning that
preview that a little bit, but yeah, I thought the Vikings just off the top of my head, I was like, it's their year. But then I went through the Packers schedule and was like, shit. I mean, they're going to have to do a lot.
Okay. I'm gonna start with the Bears and tell y'all what I think. Unless
Let's
someone
go.
has some. Okay.
Let's do the Bears.
All right, because we've been getting a lot of flack for this. You've been talking mad greasy about Chicago, like mad greasy about Chicago.
When they lose to the Jets,
You ain't look, bro. You ain't getting shit. Is Zach Wilson ever gonna play that game?
Hey,
You think Joe Flacco got it? Hey, Ravens fan, Keith thinks Joe Flacco still has it.
I mean, if you got weapons, he can do something. But I'm not saying he's great. He'll get hot. That's a fact. He'll get cooking. Like he'll easily get in a roll.
Okay, so here's what I want to talk about first. What do we expect from Fields in the offense this year? I actually expect a big improvement from Fields in our offense this year. I feel like the offense is going to be tailored more to his success. We are doing the thing that's hot in the league right now, and I don't mind it. We are shifting our offensive line scheme to be a wide zone blocking scheme. That's really important because it's a lot simpler for people. You just push up and block out towards the run or towards the direction the play is going to go. And I feel like that's big because our offensive line is not amazingly talented, but it does have a lot better talent on it and it's going to gel, and making things simpler for the players is definitely going to be huge because we just need them to like perform at as best as they can to their athletic ability. And we have young guys on the line to do that this year. Like our left tackle is not 41. So that's big. I feel like it also is going to make things better for Justin Fields. He's going to be able to make decisions faster. These type of schemes take advantage of like bootlegs, rollouts, half-field progressions. And I know a lot of people were talking greasy about like he's a little too jittery, doesn't go through all of his reads. They split the field. You'll have progressions only in half the field, not all of it, probably because you're bootlegging out to one side of the field. Things like that. I feel like all those things will suit his skill set a lot better, help the Bears really elevate their offense this year. And it's not something crazy. Like we've seen it elevate running backs a lot. And David Montgomery, we know, is good. We've seen it elevate quarterbacks that people don't think are all that talented. Like the Titans have been using the wide block six scheme ever since Derrick Henry went off. The Niners use it, Jimmy G, and like every running back ever in that uniform in that past like 3 years, right? The Rams use it. I just think our offense is going to look smarter. It's going to make our skill position players better. It's going to make Justin Fields' job easier. So that's a lot of why I see this team making a big progression, at least in just like not looking abysmal and unprepared in games. The thing on everybody's mind right now is obviously the Roquan Smith trade. He's not getting traded. I don't think Poles is going to trade him. I think we will either shaft him the way that Allen Robinson got shafted last year, because the McCaskies have shown in recent years they are not unwilling to do that to players. And it kind of sucks, right? But they've shown that they are more than welcome to do that to players. And since he doesn't have an agent, no other teams can talk to him right now without violating the tampering rules. And we just saw
lame, bro.
Wow.
He doesn't have an agent, so teams can't talk to him. We just saw the Finns get super slapped by the tampering fines.
There's so many people that represent themselves. Like Richard Sherman did it.
But he was also a free agent.
Lamar did, but I'm saying like there's just something he's
not on the team. They need to change the rules. I think
they need to
change the CBA.
Dudes are representing themselves or having
way more.
Yeah.
I think that's gonna. I think this Roquan Smith situation is probably going to lead to a change in the CBA going forward, because he's in a situation where he's kind of in a contract dispute and represents himself, and he cannot get. It's harder for him to get traded when other teams can't talk to you or your non-NFL approved representative without getting slapped by super tampering rules.
He might as well hire agent just to get traded. Literally.
At this point, but then he's going to have to give whatever money he gets to that agent. And I don't know if he wants to do that, but I feel like that actually leans in the Bears' favor. It means it's harder to find a trade partner for him. It gives the Bears more leverage to eventually get a deal done, which I would like to happen, but like I could very well see us just holding this man's life hostage.
I think it also
Unfortunately.
gives the Bears the leverage to ask teams for some ungodly amount because he can't reach out and be like they know he wants to leave, but they don't know if the Bears are willing to move him. So somebody could easily be like, "Yo, hey, I'll give you to him, but this is what I want." And if you're a desperate team or you're those championship contending teams that we saw the Steelers get Miles Jack from the Jacksonville. So now you're like, oh, yeah. I can get Roquan Smith, who's better than that, and he's young.
And you got to pay him though. He wants $20 million a year. So you got to remember when you trade for him, it's kind of like when Jerry Jones did that, and everybody kind of was like, "What?" When Jerry went out, got Amari, and then had to pay Amari the huge deal immediately after.
If Jerry Jones want to unleash Micah some more, I would definitely go trade for Roquan Smith. That shit would look insane on a football field.
Okay, I'm not lying. So
that ain't Jerry's cup of tea.
He ain't paying that man $20 million a year.
He said, "I got Anthony Barr and Dante Fowler. I'm straight."
Man, gonna play. He paid that boy. That man, because you gotta think, Mike on the edge full time, and then being able to drop back in coverage when he wants, and not having to play the middle. Man,
scary move, man.
Yeah.
Yes. All right. So record-wise, I got the Bears going 6-11. We may go 5-12, but I like 6-11 right now. I'll say that Justin Fields could take a leap in this offense. I will say, now this is the part that you're gonna think sounds crazy. There is a path for the Bears to go 9-8 this season and make everybody sound super dumb for doubting them. I'm not saying it's highly likely, and the over/under at the Bears is like at 6.5 right now, which I hate. I just stay away from it. But look, I really do feel like there's a path for a 9-8 season, but 6-11 is where I would put my money at. Week 1, we'll lose versus the San Francisco 49ers at home. Week 2, we'll lose at Lambeau facing the Packers. Week 3, we'll beat the Texans at home. Week 4, we'll beat the Giants on the road. Week 5, we'll lose to the Vikings on the road. Week 6, we'll take the Commanders, which I've been saying, right, for a while now, at home. Week 7, we'll lose to the Patriots on the road. 8, lose to the Cowboys on the road. 9, we'll lose versus the Dolphins at home, but I actually think that game is winnable. I'm just going to put it out there. I have it as a loss on our schedule, but we don't know what the Dolphins are going to look like. The Dolphins could be an absolute
You don't know what y'all going to look like.
I have a pretty good idea, personally, right?
Sound a little biased.
All right. Week 10, I have us beating the Lions at home. Week 11, I have us losing to the Falcons on the road, but that's another game that I think is winnable. That I'm just like, it's the Falcons, but we are also on the road, but leave it at that. Week 12, we beat the Jets. All right. Week 13, we lose to the Packers at home. Week 14 is our bye. Week 15, we play the Eagles. We lose. Week 16, we play the Buffalo Bills. We lose. I will say that Week 15 game is the other game that I had as a possible because we will be coming off the bye. But that's about it. So I got us at a 6-11 record. That's where I'll put my money at. Significantly better than Keith, who I think he said 4.
For the Bears? I forget what I had the Bears at.
Oh, yeah. Last 2 weeks are 17 and 18. We'll beat the Lions, lose to the Vikings.
Yeah, I think I had to I said no more than, 5? I think I gave you one
said
extra.
4. You said, I want to go low end.
Yeah, low end. High end was 6. Low end was 3 or 4, yeah.
I say 5 or 6 personally.
Thank you. Cause this dude Keith is just mad disrespectful.
There's those games you can steal. Like I think I definitely think the Commanders is one I picked for them to win.
We better hold them boys fighting each other again. If not,
the Falcons one is another one they could possibly steal. And those Lions ones I think are.
You gonna put Eddie Jackson on a Kyle Pitts?
Figure it out. Better keep Roquan underneath.
Who Kyle Pitts torch, bro? I forget who it was, bro. He was killing. It was in Miami when he was torturing people against Xavier Howard and Byron Jones. And bro, you ain't got none of them on your defense.
Look, Darren Waller said that Kyle Pitts was in his top 5 tight ends and was like, yeah, man, I was looking at that guy and I was like, damn, he kind of looks like me and is doing all the things I'm doing. But like, he's like 20, 21 or something like that. Like, I was nowhere near that good when I was that young. He's like, this is crazy. Like, he was on Bussin' with the Boys this past week saying,
I gotta watch that.
It makes no, he's like, and like, I see it, but like, you think about how young he was, I was nowhere near that good at that age. So we'll move down to, I guess, the relative consensus division winner here, right? Which is the Packers, and Sam has the Packers. My first question for you is, who do you think ends up being Aaron Rodgers' number 1 wide receiver?
So, trick question. I think it could end up being Aaron Jones, but I also think Christian Watson has a lot of potential to break out and take that spot too. I don't think it will be Allen Lazard. I'm just gonna go out on a limb and say that.
Yeah,
he's looked good in stints, but I mean, like, I just don't know if he'll sustain it for a whole season. Cliff, what were you about to say?
Yeah, I'd say the same with Lazard. That's supposed to be the guy that's kind of taking the helm from Devontae, but we all know he's been there for a little bit and he ain't been that. I honestly think the sleeper guy is Romeo Dobbs.
He drops the ball too much. I think, old boy, though, Sammy gonna make an impact. I think.
Yeah, definitely.
I think Sam, Lazard, those older guys are gonna be like Cobb. They're gonna be like role players. Those Christian and Dobbs. When Aaron Rodgers talks about you with Romeo Dobbs, you're doing something right.
That is true. He did talk.
You're doing something right because he don't give nobody hype. Last person he gave praise was we already know Devontae, and I couldn't tell you how many times I've seen him yelling on the field at Marquez for dropping the ball. So
he was on
giving him that look.
He was on the boys' ass today though. They had a little meeting because she was running wrong routes and shit.
They're young.
Dropping these passes.
Yeah,
and he wasn't even talking about his passes. He was talking about Jordan Love's passes.
On the boys' ass today.
Which, I mean, it's kind of nice. His kind of inadvertently sticking up for Love there, being like, "Yo, you really don't look as bad as he looked." These boys is out here kind of shafting.
Two of those picks wasn't not his fault.
Yeah,
it's not his fault.
That's
Sam,
important.
What else you got for us, big dog?
So I can start with record. We can start with O-line. Where are we going to start?
Let's hear record.
Yeah. Okay, so like I was saying, going into it, I thought that maybe I was going to end up thinking the Vikings had a good chance to win the division, but going through their record, I have the Packers ending 12-5, not as dominant as they've been the last couple regular seasons, but still really, really solid, and I think enough to probably win the division. Week 1, they're at the Vikings. I have them losing that game. Just start off, I think the Vikings start off hot and at home. Week 2 against the Bears, I have them winning. Week 3 at the Bucks, I have them losing, which we kind of previewed when answering the question about rivalries a little bit earlier. I just think the Bucks at home are going to have a little bit of an advantage, and there's just more continuity with Brady and some of the weapons he has already. I don't think Godwin will be back, but I mean, Mike Evans and Fournette are back, and Julio Jones is even half of what Julio Jones has been. That's a pretty good set of weapons to roll out there against some young boys in week 3. Week 4 against the Patriots, I have them winning. Week 5 against the Giants, I have them winning. Week 6 against the Jets, I have them winning. And week 7 at the Commanders, I have them winning. So a 4-game stretch of wins there before week 8 at the Bills, which I think they will lose. And then week 9 at the Lions win. I have them winning week 10 against the Cowboys, week 11 against the Titans. I think either of those games could flip to be losses. I don't necessarily think they'll win both back-to-back, but I do have them on as wins on my initial schedule. and then
The
losing.
Cowboys, they lose to they beat the Cowboys definitely. I just got to say that the Cowboys love giving it up to Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah, I was remembering that's what y'all were talking about. I think last episode when we were doing the Cowboys preview. But I just think Cowboys Titans back to back, like one of those teams is good enough to sneak a win in there.
And the Eagles too.
Eagles, I have
Good
them
stretch
losing.
right there.
Yep, week 12 at the Eagles. And then week 13, I have them beating the Bears. They have their bye. Week 14, coming off that, I have them losing week 15 against the Rams. And then 3 wins to close out the season versus the Dolphins, at home against the Vikings, and at home against the Lions. So I got them 12-5, but I could see them also ending 11-6 with one of those Cowboys or Titans games end up being a loss. And just to cover the offensive line concerns real quick, that are kind of like one of the main things, question marks aside from just the wide receiver situation going into their season. And this is also something we already previewed a couple episodes ago and a little bit earlier when talking about just the good coach, the offensive line coaching that the Packers have. One thing I was reading just when getting my stuff together for this is that they had injuries on the O-line all of last year and still just managed to put together successful offensive line seasons. So based off what I've seen, I think there's room for concern for the O-line injuries, but I think that just given their history, Green Bay will probably figure it out and probably have dudes that are well coached and fill in well for people as they're out. Will they end up top 5 O-line? Maybe not, but a lot of people still see them as ending up a top 10 O-line, even with the injury concerns. I think they'll be pretty good there no matter what. And I think Keese, a couple episodes ago, when we were talking about quarterbacks, just talked about Aaron Rodgers this year is just going to play like mad conservative like he always does and just find the right reads. I ultimately just think that's the case. That even if he doesn't have as long to make a play, he'll usually end up making the right play no matter what, even with offensive line concerns going in there too. So
he said,
I think they're poised for a good year.
Yeah, he said he wouldn't be shocked today. I think he spoke about it if Aaron Jones and AJ Dillon get 50 touches apiece, like throwing the ball. He wasn't even talking about running the ball. That's crazy.
Check down,
bro.
The check down king.
Check down for the dub.
I really think Aaron Jones could have like not a Kamara like season, but Kamara was the number 1 receiver for the Saints last year, and I could easily see Aaron Jones having a similar type ratio.
Bro, they're going to check down and then play action deep. It's going to be like check downs, running the ball, and then I think what the dude Cliff said, the rookie they have, and then the other rookie they have,
Romeo
2 rookies,
Dobbs.
Romeo Dobbs and
Christian
Watson, and I'm gonna say Sammy over Allen because Allen just drops the ball too much. Like I've seen him drop the ball a lot. Sammy didn't have a great showing in Baltimore, but I mean that was a totally different offense. I feel like for him, and he just wasn't. It's not something he was used to. I think those 3 will probably be his go-to receivers, and you never know. They might sign Odell or Will Fuller.
Mm-hmm. They definitely need to make one more addition, I believe.
Yeah.
Keith has the Vikings.
Yes, sir.
What's poppin'? I actually have do you think Justin Jefferson can triple crown this season?
Yeah, I got a question. I'm going to get there on that one. I'm going to get there.
Right.
We got that. So, shout out to Cliff. Cliff is going to run a franchise on Madden with the Vikings, who look ungodly in Madden this year. But in real life, I got their record as 10-7. I think they can pull that off. Their schedule does get a little shaky at a couple points. I forget exactly where. The big question, can Zadarius Smith and Danielle Hunter, I think it's Danielle, I always want to say Danielle, how it looks. I think it's Danielle Hunter. Can they be an elite duo as a pass rush? If you're defining elite with 12 plus sacks between like collectively, then I think they could probably be elite if they're not getting injured. But they're the only 2 on that line. There's no defensive tackles that you're worried about. They got a good, adding Anthony Barr and Kendricks. Like their linebacker core is kind of nice because both of them aren't playing edge, playing outside linebackers, essentially on the edge, but they can get into laps where they drop in the coverage. but like that defense ain't really that great. Patrick Peterson's old, Harrison Smith's old. Like
Got some young bucks though.
they got a safety. I forget his name. It's Woods.
Lewis Chin at safety and Andrew Booth at corner.
Yeah, they do got they got some young dudes that could learn from the veterans, but I don't think that defense is going to be insane. I think the offense is going to be ungodly. So I feel like that's what's going to have them going at people so much because with the new offensive coordinator, the chances of Justin Jefferson getting the Triple Crown, I'd say are 65% chance.
Damn.
Because if you look at it, the only person that in the Bengals offense, Chase is getting so many people that can take the ball away from him. Granted, like in basketball or football, whoever got a hot hand, they're gonna feed them regardless. Like even if they're getting doubled, if they're getting loose and still getting open, with the ball, they're gonna feed them. But I feel like Justin Jefferson between Thielen can get banged up. Dalvin Cook can get banged up. Jefferson doesn't get banged up so far. And the offensive scheme is just changing. Irv Smith Jr. is coming back from injury, so they're gonna, the tight end, he's young, he's big promising for them. They're gonna, rotate him back in, but I think he's been raving about how the offense is changing. I think he probably has a 65% chance. Like it's gonna be pretty high up there that he gets the Triple Crown, and I think they're gonna cut Kurt loose. It's not gonna be super run heavy, and I don't know what cutting Kurt loose looks like, but.
Let me ask y'all a question about fantasy that relates to Justin Jefferson. So I have the third pick in one of my leagues, PPR, so receptions matter. And normally in drafts it goes
I ain't taking Justin Jefferson.
Jonathan Taylor 1 and either Cooper Kupp or Derrick Henry second. Is there a world where if it's Taylor, Henry, would you ever take Jefferson over Cooper Kupp?
No.
Why not? If you think he's going to get the Triple Crown.
Not in PPR, man.
Yeah.
But it's PPR, so if he gets the Triple Crown in PPR, but if he gets the Triple Crown, he had the most receptions in the league.
Right.
Exactly.
Right.
I'm
That's
like,
true.
if we think he could Triple Crown, why not take him over Cooper Kupp?
I mean, you can take him. I just said that the offense is going to be crazy, so I feel like he's going to get an ungodly amount of targets this year. So, I mean, you could take him. I'm just saying you have safer bets than taking him, essentially.
I've been pondering it.
You can go out on a limb and be like, hey, I'm taking him. But you definitely have some safer bets along the way. You'd be like, nah, I'm taking this.
But if you're sitting at 3, and Taylor and Cooper are going, I think you definitely got to.
You take him over Henry?
Dude, I just like running backs in fantasy.
PPR is tough, man.
They're like running backs are just so banged up. Like
if Henry caught the ball more,
all right, he's not a PPR friendly running back.
Yeah, he's not PPR friendly. He gets off some games, but he at most he'll get you. I want to say like 15 to 20, maybe.
Yeah,
like normally it's like
he's an average 15.
Yeah,
just running the ball.
Yeah, just running the ball. But you're saying Justin Jefferson can get you 18 to 25, and 25 is not even stealing. That's like he could just get you 18, probably start like just off of one game.
I don't know if I'm committed to it, but I'm tempted. I'm tempted by Justin Jefferson at 3, and I think that's crazy with him going into his third year. Like that's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, the numbers he put up says like you ain't crazy. That's what I'm saying. The numbers, the numbers, like blind resume says that you're not crazy. Let's move on down to the Lions. All right, Cliff got the Lions. Yo. Honestly, this is kind of one of the most interesting situations around the NFL for like how good can they actually look. What you got, Cliff?
Man, I actually, based off my record prediction, it won't sound like it, but I think this team's going to be better than they were. I just like what they're doing. I think they're gonna have some grit and gonna play hard. I think they did last year also. But just running down their schedule, man, I got them at 4-13.
Oh,
so again, I think it's a lot of these games they lose that they could be right in the thick of it, but they're the Lions. So they start the season at home versus the Eagles. Then you play the Commanders at home. I got them winning that game. At the Vikings, home against the Seahawks. I got them winning that game.
Wow.
Too many question marks with the Seahawks. I think the Lions are a young team, but I think they can
Aiden.
still.
Hutchinson
No,
might have a big game. Hutchinson
I'm
probably
just saying,
wild that game.
Go ahead. Mostly, I'm saying wow because you had them winning like 2 of their first 4 or 5 games,
Yeah.
and then you're like the next 12 weeks is a slaughter.
No. So yeah, there's a stretch of a bunch of L's thrown at you. So you got at the Pats, at the Cowboys, home against the Dolphins, home against the Packers, at the Bears, at the Giants, home against the Bills, home against the Jags, and they still won. They still won at home versus the Vikings. Did they take an L at the Jets? Take an L at the Panthers. Dub against the Bears at home late in the season, and then an L to finish the season at the Packers.
They might win that against the Packers. The Packers are sitting people.
I didn't. I thought about that, but I didn't take it into consideration. I just looked at it pound for pound. But
I don't think the Packers can sit with the Vikings on their ass.
Nah, I think the 4 teams they beat are the Commanders, Seahawks, Vikings once, and the Bears once. I just feel like that team they're young. I think they're gonna like be in games. Like, I mean, they beat the Vikings last year. So I mean, that was one of the games they did win. So I think that's why I don't believe in the Vikings as much. I just think you can't lose games like that.
The Vikings love to give it up.
That's
like
that.
Who was your backup when y'all came into Minnesota and beat them?
Cooper Rush.
Yeah. Cooper Rush came into Minnesota and beat the brakes off them boys. Like, that was wild. The Vikings are a team that will, like, give it up.
They'll give up a game. They'll give up a game.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I feel that way about 4-13, I think is reasonable. So that's kind of my spill on them. As far as obviously playoffs, that's not in their future. they filing for a top 5 pick again. So
hey,
build that team, build them up. They might surprise me. They might steal 6 off the.
I think they can steal 6. I'm gonna be honest.
Man,
you think they can steal 6, but you had the Bears as a 4-win team?
Come on, man.
Fact.
All right, at least
look at your offensive line to their offensive line.
Their offensive line is much better.
Who?
It's
the Lions.
Yeah, you got the Lions.
Yeah, and somehow with that better offensive line, they've continuously failed and underperformed.
Look at the games they lost last year. They didn't get blown out, big dog. They weren't getting dragged every game. So I'm saying
they were in a lot of games. You're right.
Yeah, you look at their line, the weapons they got from the offseason. Their defensive line got an improvement. Jeff Okudah is coming back healthy because was he injured last year or was he came back midway? I think he came back.
He was hurt a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're gonna have him. I think they make not noise, but they go towards the right. Like they're already building towards the right direction. They got a coach that the players like love playing for. Like I think that's a big thing. Like he says some crazy shit sometimes. When I think about it, like when I think about it like, as a coach, I'm like bro, like if he was my coach, I'd probably be like excited, like like he talks like that.
Have y'all seen that meme that's like he sounds like Dutch from Red Dead Redemption 2? They sound exactly alike him in this video game character. It's so funny.
Yeah.
Who do y'all think is better, Darnell Mooney or Amon-Ra St. Brown?
Darnell Mooney.
Bro, you smoking dust asking that question.
Bro, I mean, look at the numbers, bro.
St. Brown is – don't sleep on St. Brown, man.
I think St. Brown –
I didn't say he was trash. I just said you think you smoking dust thinking he's better than Darnell Mooney.
He might have
better hands. He might have better hands, though.
I don't think it's that far off, to be honest with you.
Wow. All right. Yeah, I'm listening.
I'm just taking Darnell because you can't teach speed. Like, I think they're close, like Cliff says, but I think the speed factor is definitely different. But like Cliff says, it's not like it's like woo.
I can see St. Brown being now. Listen, I can see St. Brown being a slot receiver like a Hunter Renfrow, Cooper Kupp.
Big
Cooper Kupp.
Obviously, lower tier. That type of receiver, get the ball consistent, making plays, moving the chains type of guy.
So just Hunter Renfrow.
I mean, Cooper Kupp ain't. I mean, he route you up
4 years ago.
He ain't stretching
okay, yeah. Cooper Kupp 4 years ago. That's
low
fair.
tier.
All right. Let's move on to the AFC North. I got the Bengals, so I'll run it first. Look, here's what I'll say. I think the Bengals will probably go back to back winning the AFC North. Like, I think top to bottom, they have the best roster in the AFC North. However, I do not see them going back to back to the Super Bowl like Kansas City did. I just think it takes way too much luck in doing that. The AFC is deeper and healthier as of now, but we never know what will happen at the end of this year. I think Chase is going to go crazy, but the Triple Crown Chase talk is nonsense. I just don't even think it's feasible. Not with that many talented wide receivers on that roster. And like when we were doing our rankings, we were like, wait, Jamar Chase only caught like 4 passes a game last year. Like the yards were crazy, the touchdowns were great, but he was only catching like 4 balls a game.
Shit was
Like,
getting loose, bro.
Yeah, you can't get close to the Triple Crown catching 4 passes a game.
Mm-hmm.
Even if that goes up to 5 or 6, and 6 is a 50% increase over the you can't get close to winning the Triple Crown doing that.
You got to be at like 8.
Yeah, I think it's more likely that Jamar Chase prevents a Triple Crown winner from being crowned this season because he has the most yards in the league than it is that he or any other person wins the Triple Crown.
Yeah.
I think it's way more likely he prevents there from being any winner just because of how explosive he is after the catch. So
For sure.
I have the Bengals going 12-5, possibly 11-6, because there's a week 6 game against the Saints that I honestly feel could go either way. And the Saints are a team that it just plays well against good teams. They really do. So I got them beating the Steelers, then the Cowboys, then the Jets, then the Dolphins. Week 5 losing to the Ravens at Baltimore on Sunday Night Football. Week 6 is that Saints game. I currently have them winning it to go 12-5. 7 beat the Falcons. 8 beat the Browns. 9 beat the Panthers. Bye week. Then they lose to the Steelers at, well, it's not Heinz. What's the name of the Steelers? They changed the name of the
It's not
stadium.
Heinz anymore. It's something crazy,
Yeah.
something weird.
Yeah, well, they will lose to the Steelers. Steelers are at home. I feel like they'll lose to the Titans in the revenge game with the Titans being at home. Then week 13, I feel like they'll also lose to Kansas City. I feel like that 11-13 week area will be a downslide for them, but they'll end the season strong, beating out the Browns, losing to the Bucks, beating the Patriots on Christmas Eve, losing to the Bills, beating the Ravens week 18. And that has me putting them at 12-5, winning the AFC North. I feel like 12-5 wins the AFC North this year. All right. Who do y'all think is going to win the AFC North this year?
I agree with you. It'll be the Bengals.
Yeah, I think it's the Bengals.
Okay.
Man, that's tough coming from you, huh?
Yeah.
That's tough. He said, "Yeah, I think it'll be the Bengals."
With the Ravens jersey behind him.
Right.
He's
It's
like,
a tough pill to swallow, but yeah.
I think
just
so
think-
too.
They're built really nice right now. I think the Ravens, there's still some pieces that need to be answered. I do think though coming back healthy does make a difference. So like I'm not saying they're getting to the Super Bowl. I'm saying they win the North, but they could easily get bounced in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I agree
think-
with that.
Yeah, I agree. I think they're like Tom said, top to bottom, best team put together overall. Every aspect of the team, I think, solid overall. Outside all those other teams in the question marks with the Browns and quarterback and young quarterback situation with Pittsburgh.
If the Browns had Watson 2 years ago with the team that they had prior, then they probably would have the best team. Like with Odell, Jarvis, but
yeah,
Yo,
that would have been OP.
that team would have been dumb.
that's crazy,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah, all right. Let's talk with Keith because we got his Ravens, which are probably the best team to challenge the Bengals for supremacy this season. Where you at with them?
So before I get into the record, I'll just bring up like the different things they got going on. Lamar's contract's a big question. What kind of contract he gets? What deal should he get? I think his money, he should get fully guaranteed money, that the same amount of fully guaranteed that Watson got. It should
Same amount, not more.
That should be the base of it. It should start there. like for fully guaranteed, and then his money can up at that point. But I'm saying his fully guaranteed money, that should be the base of whatever it is, and then I feel like from there you can give him a 3-year deal. It's like, say, there's people that are like, hey, he won't last that long, whatever. I think he'll definitely last that long. But if the organization's like, we don't know, then you give him a 3-year deal. But then I say you cut the money up where he's still getting a lot guaranteed. But obviously he's probably in 3 years, they're not gonna give him the Deshaun Watson deal. But say 3 years, 3 years, you give him 185 all guaranteed. Then that something like that, or 5 years, whatever comes up, he deserves it. It's not no question about it. I just hope I want them to get it done before the season
185
starts.
over 3,
bro.
That's like 60 plus a year, all guaranteed.
Bro, just the only reason we lost 6 games straight that we would have won if he was playing.
Yo, my heart hurt, and I'm not a Ravens fan.
You can't do 3 years, bro.
Yeah, 3 years.
Well, at least 4. At least 4, man.
Ain't no way y'all gonna be able to manage any.
But there's people talking about like he should get a 3-year deal with. I'm not saying mathematically work out the numbers however you want, but I'm saying like 3-year deal, all of it has to be guaranteed. If you go the short end where you're like, hey, we don't think he's gonna last, fine, but all of it got to be guaranteed. And then if you go his end where it's like 5 or 6, then at the base it has to be the Deshaun Watson guaranteed money, and then you can play with it from whatever you guys do from there. You know what I mean? But at the base of it, it has to be his money. And
Does
then
it get done this season?
It needs to, because you gotta think if
I'm asking your opinion. Does
we
it?
don't? I wanted to, but I don't know because we don't hear anything about it. It's close knit, because it's between him and his mom and the Ravens. For their sake,
he said he ain't worried about it when the season.
Yeah, starts. For their sake, he said he's not talking. So if it's not done before game 1, I would be worried, because if he goes out there and has an insane year and say he wins whatever playoff games and they get to say the AFC Championship game and lose there,
he gonna get that 185.
Dog, he's getting an ungodly amount of money, because that's going to show you, last year if we had him, bro, we were definitely fine. So I think he gets that. Another big question is, can we get the Ravens defense back in line to what it was? We lost Wink Martindale, who I think should not have been fired at all. That's between me and God, but I think he should have still been there. I think the only thing that's weird about Wink's system, Wink at times will drop the damn defensive end or defensive tackle in the coverage. Definitely a little weird to see that sometimes. They won't be in deep coverage, but they'll drop back, and it's definitely a little weird. The hiring of Mike McDonald, I think he has them ready to go as long as everybody's healthy. It's similar system to Wink. He's been with the Ravens organization before. He turned around the Michigan football team. They went from like piss poor ranked defense to being like a top 10 defense, top 12 defense. So what's up?
I did not notice that Harbaugh connection.
Yeah, that's why he got the job, big dog.
Yeah, no, look, you put me on game.
Yeah, he should. I'm not saying he shouldn't have got the job, but I'm saying Wink shouldn't have got fired.
I agree.
So there's that. Record wise, I think they'll go 12-5. I think it gets tough at some points. There are some games, but I don't think we haven't won against the Steelers in 2 years. It's time to beat the Steelers, big dog. That's fucking embarrassing. I know TJ Watt
on your shit with no quarterback.
Y'all better beat him this year.
Yeah, TJ Watt is like ungodly, that dude. But Jesus, please block him. So we have him. You look at. I think we'll shut the Browns out. I think the Bengals will be a split this year. I don't think the Bengals get the 2-0, but I think it'll be a split. You gotta win one game against the Steelers. Like, you cannot keep getting shut out. So there's that. I'm interested to see how the dudes look back, coming back from injury. Marcus Peters, he's never been injured. Coming back from an injury, a big injury at that, but I feel like he'll be fine. J.K. Dobbins is going to be another interesting thing. I wasn't sold on him completely when we drafted him. Not that he's bad or anything, but I just, I feel like Lamar, like he cuts carries from a running back, because he's going to run the ball too. I feel like he needs like a elite running back. Like, it has to be. I'm not saying JK can't get there, but at this point, I'm saying he needed to have be paired with Dalvin Cook or one of those insane running backs to where, like, all right, you might not get that many touches, but I know you're going to get off in these amount of touches.
He is your elite running back.
I really
he is your elite running back.
Yeah, exactly. And it's crazy, bro, because
but if you get him with an elite dual threat running back, like, imagine you pulling out Lamar and like an Eckler or a Kamara to the same side of the field
It's crazy.
It's like, is it a handoff? Are they about to run a route? What are you doing? Like, that'd be unguardable.
Because you got to think, like, I'm so sick of, like, bro, the run game revolves around him. It's ridiculous. I'm like, bro, like, it's not that I don't think he can keep playing like that throughout his career. You're just upping the chances of, like, something happening because if he's not running the ball, the offense looks really super stagnant. You know what I mean? Because they rely on him to be such a runner. And I'm not saying you can't have him be a runner, but it can't rely on him running the ball. Like, you know, that's why I'm saying you have to go get a wideout. Like, you can't have just Rashard Bateman and then in training camp you hear about him dropping the ball, or, like, you know, he's young. Like, he's going to drop. Like, he's not just going to be some super superior number one right out the gate. Like, he's young. He's going to drop the ball. Last year he was banged up. It's just it's a lot of questions. And
for y'all loaded. That's the tough part for y'all. Y'all are drafting projects, molding the projects, and then losing them at their height. Like, Hollywood Brown was a project.
And that's another thing. A lot of Ravens fans don't think, you know, Hollywood leaving was a big deal. Like I was just talking about with Cliff, like we were saying with the Lions and Darnell Mooney, or even before we got on the pod, you can't teach speed. Like, the same way Tyreek Hill gets loose just because of how fast he is. Like, I know Marquise Brown, the year prior to last year, he used to drop the ball all the time, him and Mark Andrews. But they fixed it last year. He still had some drops, but he fixed it compared to what he was doing. I just think you can't teach that speed. Like, he gets behind the defense. You know, he makes people play honest. Like, you're like, all right, well, if they go play action, he's going. And, you know, the only dude we have left to do that, I think, is Devin Duvernay, who I think is going to have a big year, but he's not even near as fast as Marquise Brown, I don't think. So it's just a lot to answer, and I just feel like, you know, they need to lock in Lamar, but they also need to do right by him and not make this man feel like he has to be the running back and the quarterback. That's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Get him some help. Get him some help.
Yeah, like, you know what I mean? Like, we don't even know if Ronnie Stanley's going to come back, which is an even bigger question. Like, left tackle that's elite. Like,
and y'all traded Orlando Brown because y'all were like, Ronnie gonna be the left tackle, ain't no other option. And he was like, well, then I got to go. Although he was saying now for the Chiefs too, because he wanted that bread.
Orlando Brown left too. So you got to think, like, we couldn't afford to pay Orlando and Stanley, which I kind of.
You also wouldn't let Orlando be a left tackle. And he's
exactly.
Like,
but at this point, at this point, it kind of made sense if we would have fucking let him be a left tackle.
Yeah.
But I just think I don't regret them trading him to the Chiefs. I just regret the Ravens not drafting George Pickens. It's fucking stupid. They went David.
He's not a Ravens guy though.
Like
all the like character stuff that came up in his like draft eval, you know, the Ravens were going to steer clear of that. And the Steelers are kind of an organization that runs towards it in a similar way to the Cowboys do, but usually when they run towards it, the guys are really quiet when they're on the Steelers. Like, they run towards a troubled player, and that troubled player has like a spotless like record while he's on the Steelers. The Cowboys run towards a troubled player and just let him wild out. Bro, as long as he's a star on the field.
You gotta think though. We passed Stephon Diggs, who went to Maryland for Nick Boyle. I forget how many picks, a couple picks. We passed Calvin Ridley twice. Odell's sitting in free agency.
I don't know if he wants to be there,
bro. They need to make a move. That, like, you know, a number one receiver is the issue in this offense.
The Packers signed Travis Fulgham today. And Travis was balling on the Eagles for like a year and a half. Travis was Travis was going crazy. Travis has had a better season than everybody on the Ravens as a pass catcher besides Mark Andrews. And you know it. That's all I'm gonna say.
Hey, my guy from Northern Virginia too.
Yeah. That boy has a better career season than every pass catcher on the Ravens right now besides Mark Andrews.
It's bad because Lamar's not a type to build up a receiver that's a project.
Mm-hmm.
So for you guys to have
Hollywood.
Hollywood
was a struggle bus when he first got to the league.
That's because they banked on his speed. But my personal opinion is that I just don't think. I think Hollywood stretched the field and opened things up for Mark Andrews. I think Lamar is more of a tight end based guy because that helps in the run game and that helps him, you know, getting underneath. Like throwing it deep is just like that's just That's just
They
not
showed
that
New England
offense.
Patriots
Just
2
change
tight
the-
ends
That's
with
just
him.
not that. That's just not that. I just don't
Bro.
think. I personally don't think that's that offense.
Just change the fucking scheme. That's the other thing I'm on. Like it's like I feel like they're wasting time. Like you're seeing, like you watch the Bills, they went and got Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. Josh Allen's completion percentage went from fucking to woo. You know why? Because if you have a receiver that can snag those 50-50 balls, or just a sure-handed receiver, it makes a difference. Like I
Or
don't
just is always open.
yeah, like I
His
don't get
route
what
running is ridiculous.
Even when he ain't open, he open.
yeah, like I don't get what people are talking about. Like Josh Allen's completion percentage didn't just jump for no motherfucking reason. Like, yeah, he himself worked on it, but what was the big piece that came in?
Diggs
Like,
and Diggs' year was
Elite
crazy that
receiver.
year.
Bro, what happened with Amari and you got Dak? He helped Dak loved throwing the ball to him. Like it's you, and I think the way football is today, like you need it. And the Ravens are just betting on like it's old school football. You can control the clock. Their defense is going to be crazy. And
It's one y'all games though. It's work. You can't say it hasn't worked. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it works, but I'm just saying, like, you get in those moments where you need those receivers that can catch the ball. Like, you watch,
playmakers.
like, we made fun of
You
Ryan
got to make
Tannehill.
a play.
Two of those interceptions Ryan Tannehill threw last year bounced off people's hands.
Yeah.
So, like, that's just, you know, granted, they were still interceptions, but they bounced off the hands of the receivers early
Yeah,
on.
you said you was counting them against Tannehill because of the way.
No,
they
I
did
am
Lamar.
because people counted them against Lamar. When Lamar, that first playoff game, I watched everybody drop the ball.
All right, let's keep it moving. We got Cliff rocking with the Browns. We kind of already talked about the whole Watson suspension and whatnot. So where do you got the Browns at this year with a lot of drama and like also Kareem Hunt asking to be traded on the backside of all the drama?
I think with all the drama it does, it's going to make this season rough. It's going to make this like a bridge season for them. I don't think they could be a wild card team, but it's I don't see it. I got them at 8-9. I got them at a mid range start of the season at the Panthers. I think Baker comes in with vengeance in his heart and they get a dub. So I think the Browns lose that one without Deshaun Watson, of course. So these first 6 without Deshaun Watson, presuming that he's going to be suspended. Home against the Jets, they win that one. Home against the Steelers, I think they lose that one. At the Falcons, dub. And then home against the Chargers and Patriots, I think they lose both of those. Those are solid teams. I don't think you win with Jacoby Brissett.
I like Brissett, man.
I do too, but I just he's not Deshaun Watson, and honestly, we don't even know who Deshaun Watson is because we haven't seen the man play in a whole year. So,
That's a fact.
And then I just thought about, just to pause for a second, if he gets suspended for a whole year, made this man the highest paid player in NFL history. And if he ends up suspended if he ends up not playing football for 2 full seasons, like I don't know what player you're gonna get when he comes back. You don't know what I feel like you don't know what player you're gonna get when the game changes for you if when you're not playing it. So after the suspension, 6 games, first game at the Ravens, I think they lose that one. Then they're home against the Bengals. I think they lose that one. I think they're gonna finish their season pretty strong, but I think the suspension kind of shakes things up. Get a dub at the Dolphins. L at the Bills. L at home versus the Bucks. Then they beat the Texans at home, or at the Texans. They win at home at the Texans. They lose at the Bengals. I think they lose both their games to the Bengals this year, solely because I think the Bengals just did a lot to fine-tune that offensive line, and I just don't think I just think they're going to be a better team overall. Say what?
I said that suspension's tough. Like
it does. It makes things like this man hasn't played going on playing a real game.
It's tough, well deserved, but like
I agree. I agree about this. I think it should definitely be more than 6 games. That's personally how I feel, and I think it's going to affect them as a team.
Working from 17 down, and that's why they're trying to settle.
But you gotta think, it's super one dimensional because if you send Jacoby Brissett out there, teams are like, And if you trade Kareem Hunt, not saying they will, but imagine they do. Teams are gonna be like, "Oh, bitch, we know you're gonna give the ball to Nick Chubb." Granted, Nick Chubb is ungodly. They're gonna be like,
Yeah.
And they got that other dude that went off last year, third
Ernest
string
Johnson
back.
from
Yeah.
Ernest Johnson.
Bro,
Yeah.
like that's probably why if they can get value for Hunt, it makes sense.
And they drafted a young buck too, Jerome Ford.
Mhm.
But if
So
you
I think they
trade,
got backs.
if you trade Hunt though, you gotta think teams are gonna be like, all right, we're gonna see Amari Cooper, we're gonna make him beat us, and we're gonna make Jacoby Brissett throw the ball. And
Yeah.
Amari Cooper against
You need
Stack the
Kareem
box,
Hunt.
double
those
Amari.
secondary against those secondaries,
You
I
need
don't-
Kareem Hunt. You need
yeah,
Kareem
he's
Hunt.
not getting loose like that against those secondaries. Like
Nah.
against Baltimore, since he's gonna throw Jesse Bates and then I forget what's his face.
Eli Apple.
No, not Eli.
No,
Apple.
Cheetah Bay Woozier.
Yeah, they're gonna throw him at him, and you're gonna be sitting there like, well, damn. And Amari Cooper's a great route runner, but there's times where he just disappears. Like he'll be in the game, and
I
they'll
know
just
firsthand.
yeah. So if he does the disappearing act on Jacoby Brissett, Jacoby's fucked.
You 100% right.
He's
So,
fucked.
like I said, I think they're gonna lose that. I think at the end of the season, they'll finish the season with 4 dubs. So, at home versus the Ravens, at home versus the Saints, at home versus the Commanders, and then final game on the road at the Steelers. I just think they got a good home stretch there. 2 games I know for sure they should win to the Saints and Commanders, and then the Ravens Browns. I think I just got them splitting them really. Second part of the season. I think late. Once Deshaun comes back, I think they'll kind of be more to form. That's what I'm and they're getting a nice home stretch at the end there. So that's kind of how I feel about them 8-9. I think that's a fair record for, again, assuming it's only 6 games.
Okay. Facts. All right. So then we got Sam who has the Steelers, and the Steelers are always interesting because Tomlin doesn't lose like winning seasons or even at best, right? So Big Ben's finally gone, and everybody's been saying Big Ben has been holding this Steelers team back for years. I feel like that's been like a constant talk.
They said that shit and didn't get a quarterback. I get that shit when you get
they drafted one and
they got a quarterback. His position is labeled quarterback.
Yes. Like they drafted one and they signed one.
Got 2 of them.
And look, I think Mitch Trubisky gets a bad rap, so I'm just going to put that out there now. We can't say all the things we said about Matt Nagy in Fields' year about just being absolutely atrocious, terrible scheme, not doing anything to help his quarterback, et cetera, and then still be like everything was Mitch's fault and he is dookie. Like, we got to pick. I just want to – we got to pick. We got to pick.
I don't think it's, all 100% is Mitch's fault. But I think if you look at it, who Mitch went ahead of in that draft, that's why Mitch gets so much flack.
Bad.
You can say I'm not
it's
saying
like Daniel Jones all over again.
But you look at that draft, you're like, yo, what? Like,
I agree. But 14 people went before Patrick Mahomes. I just want to say that. 14 of them went before Patrick Mahomes.
But
so it wasn't just us.
You know what's crazy though? The Pat Mahomes thing, how he played in college, that was like the blueprint to still how he plays now. Like people said, like his scouting report it's probably still damn near close to the same it was in college.
Yeah, I just think it helps when you like have an offensive minded person like Andy Reid that's going to sit with you, work out the rough edges, and then like create things that take advantage of those raw skills and abilities. So Sam has this
situations where you get drafted is huge.
Like somebody else could have ruined Mahomes.
Yeah.
Like Matt Nagy, maybe.
Could you imagine it? You got Mahomes at the Bears. We wouldn't even be talking about Mahomes.
And then he ended up like Mitch Trubisky because Matt Nagy was bad. Like, yeah, come on, anything. Anything can happen. So, Sam, where are we at with the Steelers, my guy?
So I agree with you that I think Mitch Trubisky and just the Steelers offense in general coming into the season is a bit underrated. I don't think they'll be great. I got them going 7-10, but I got them being competitive in a lot of these games. But I'll go through the record and just give go through the schedule and give my thoughts about it. Week 1 against the Bengals, I think they'll lose. Week 2 against the Patriots, I think they'll lose. Week 3 against the Browns, I think they'll win. Week 4 against the Jets, I think they'll win. Week 5 They play the Buffalo Bills. I got them losing.
They beat them last year.
Well, I got them losing this year. Then against the Buccaneers, week 6, I got them losing. Week 7 at the Dolphins, I got them winning. I think one thing that is always going to be true, even with questionable offense, is defense is always going to be solid with Pittsburgh, and the ability to fuck with Tua, I think, will definitely be there. So I see that as a win. I think they'll lose against the Eagles in the next week, week 8, and then they have their bye. I have them beating the Saints week 10, losing to the Bengals week 11. So I think they'll lose both games to the Bengals this year. Losing to the Colts week 12. I just think that's one that the Colts could possibly get on them. And one thing that I have just as a question mark down the stretch is we're pretty confident Trubisky's going to be the quarterback to start the year, but I don't know if they're going to shift to rookie or just let him ride the whole year. So some of these games down the stretch that I think they could win, like against the Colts, change when you have a rookie quarterback. Against the Falcons, week 13, I think they win. Against the Ravens at home at Pittsburgh, week 14, I think they win. Week 15 against the Panthers at the Panthers, they win. And then I have them losing their last 3 games. Raiders, week 16, at the Ravens, week 17, and Browns, week 18.
I think they're beating the Raiders.
I think they're going to beat the Raiders and the Ravens. You think they're going to sweep the Ravens again?
Bitch,
when was the last time they beat the Ravens? Yeah, I'm telling you. And they play them twice a year.
Bitch, I'm a Ravens fan telling you it's possible.
Yeah.
Man, I think the Ravens will get one this year. But yeah, I got this.
I think this year is the year y'all get one. But I just think that question, that those questions at quarterback.
They need to.
I just don't like this. That would be Mike Tomlin's first losing season.
Yeah. I mean, he hasn't had Mitch Trubisky and Kenny Pickett as his quarterback.
Yeah, but he had Mason Rudolph and went 8-8.
Yeah, but now there's an extra week, so you got an extra week to lose. They may have done it.
That's a great point, man.
Yeah. I'm just saying, like, I feel like if they start the season as bad as you say, Kenneth Pickett starts playing way earlier. Like if Mitch is just getting his shit rocked like that.
Yeah, I had them 2-4 to start the season. So at that point, they would probably switch it up.
Yeah, I just don't see Tomlin sitting there and taking it. He's not built for it. He's going to do everything he can to reconcile that.
And then, I mean, if Pickett starts playing, I mean, I think there's a bunch of good development that can start happening. But is he going to close close games? Like in a like one touchdown game against Lamar, even though the Steelers have historically had the upper edge, if it's Kenny Pickett versus Lamar, I would probably take the Ravens.
But that's never how the Steelers play. It's like we ran the ball, we put some points on the board, and now our defense
I think
is going to have to make the play.
Najee Harris is probably going to have some ungodly fucking year this year.
He's going to have the most carries by any running back if he stays healthy the whole season.
Will he get above 4 yards per carry, though?
I mean, even if he doesn't, it doesn't matter.
And the dump offs, like I don't think they're going to eliminate the dump off passes to Najee Harris.
He might have the most touches. That's another really valuable player in fantasy outside of the question marks with the quarterback.
Because he had like 60 plus catches last year.
Yeah. He had like 14 in one game.
Yeah. TJ Watt, can he go back-to-back DPOY?
He definitely could. I definitely think he can. That dude is just out of this fucking world. And like seemingly continues to get better, which is crazy, especially at like a position where there's so much wear and tear. You would think that at some point a drop-off would start happening. But until I see it, I'm not ready to say he can't just win that shit again.
Madden robbed him too. Should have been 99.
Okay.
Oh. TJ definitely.
Yeah.
They robbed him.
They ain't robbed him. I just played. He was beating the fuck out of me off the edge. Okay. With a double.
Like if
he not robbed.
You won defensive player of the year.
Yeah, how you the defensive player of the year and another player has a higher defensive rating than you?
Who you had more sacks than? Like, I don't know.
That's what
He
I want
almost
to know.
got straight hands record.
Because
And he
Miles,
missed games.
bro,
Yeah.
TJ missed like 2 or 3. I don't even know how
Miles,
many he
Yeah.
missed.
but that's the difference. So Miles plays just the edge. TJ drops in the coverage because he's a linebacker.
Right.
So I feel like that's another thing people don't account for. Like, yes, there you do have the defenses where the linebacker just plays the edge, but you have different combinations where they're playing zone where he has to drop in the coverage.
He's primarily though a rusher though for the most
Yeah,
part.
yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, that's it for the AFC North.
The Fly Route Pod. The Fly Route Pod. The Fly Route Pod. The Fly Route Pod.
All right. The final segment we got is we are bringing back the Ballers Bouquet. It's the final segment, the heart of the show, where too often media only focuses on the negative and salacious things athletes do and never give them their credit where credit is due. Here we try to make a change. This week's Ballers Bouquet is going to Russell Wilson and his wife Sierra. The couple is teaming up with a Colorado healthcare company named Centura Health to empower nonprofits that are focused on underdeserved and minority communities. The Wilsons have donated and pledged $500,000 annually through their Why Not You Foundation to these nonprofits. And the first nonprofit that they gave the money to was called College Track, and they gave them $100,000. College Track is a nonprofit that has about 550 students of color in the Denver area and focuses on helping those students earn their bachelor's degrees. They have mentoring, social and emotional support, internships, financial resources such as scholarships and training, among other things. They're a full-service organization that does everything they can to make sure over 500 students can graduate and get their BAs, and they've received $100,000 as being the first nonprofit that Russell Wilson and Sierra have given to. So that's who gets this week's Ballers Bouquet. Just another athlete making sure that they impact a good cause wherever they're at. And it was a good way to welcome himself to the Denver community.
Let's ride.
Let's ride.
Let's ride.
Let's ride.
Broncos Nation.
Let's ride.
All right, y'all. That's it for this episode. Anybody got anything they want to share?
Yeah, holla at me on the game, bro. Madden.
Hey,
Drop your gamer tag. You might end up getting people.
I'll play you real quick, Cliff.
What's up, man? I'm on it.
We can do a head-to-head. Yeah, let's do one. I mean, yeah, let's do it. I got time. I'll play one.
I bet. We appreciate everybody for listening. We will be going live from here on out. Everybody that popped through during the live or listened afterwards, we really appreciate you all, and we will catch you next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern.
The Fly Route Pod. The Fly Route Pod. The Fly Route Pod. The Fly Route Pod.
Oh, actually, Cliff, I lied to you. It's about to storm here.